Well, hi everybody, and welcome to our pre-full moon Sagittarius webinar. There's so much going on right now, we've had in these particular months, the ingress of the sign into the sign is just about at the same time of the full moon, and that's going to be the case here with Sagittarius as well. I just, so I don't forget, and inside your chat box, you have everything you need for the next two events. And we've already had two. We've had the ingress meditation, and we've had, oh, that's happening right now. Okay. So I figured if you're here. Now, the next event after this will be the Sagittarius exact full moon service meditation, which Tuya will be offering. And here is the link. And that link is the same as the YouTube link that you've been using. We just decided to keep it the same because, after all, that's the easiest way right now. And let's see here. And then, so that's 4 a.m. GMT. And so that puts it tonight. Well, okay, I guess it's sort of 8 o'clock out here on the West Coast, and then 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock, it'll be Mountain Time, and 10 o'clock Central, and 11 o'clock Eastern Time. So some of you may be able to join us for that, but that's very, very important because, as you know, the Tibetan says, a sort of a door opens, and at that exact moment of the full moon, things happen in a way that they happen at no other time. And then the next day, or rather on the 24th, I'll be broadcasting the meditation, the solar fire ritual meditation broadcast. I'll be meditating with you, and if you want to join me for Sagittarius, I'll be very happy to see you there. And that's happening on our YouTube channel. All right, well, we're all right, we're ready to go. I'm almost ready to go anyway. And here are our Jafra illustrations. You may remember he really has made a tremendous contribution. The whole idea here that the flaming arrow shoots into heaven and is answered by the fire of intuition, which Zeus, as Jupiter, is sending forth. The arrow of aspiration returns as the arrow of intuition from the realm of the cosmic ethers, the four higher subplanes of the cosmic physical plane. And that's really very much what we're trying to do. Mentality is expected of us as disciples. And of course, we have to continue to increase our mentality, and Master DK is a wonderful example. But it's not just manas, it's buddhi manas that we have to achieve, and that requires this simultaneity of appreciation that the intuition gives. So in a way, we're dealing with both Uranus, the ruler of the cosmic ethers, and Saturn, the ruler of the lower three cosmic physical subplanes, Saturn and Uranus together. And, recently some people have had that conjunction, and it's a very good one for putting the cosmic ethers together with the dense area of the planetary logos. This particular archer, well, there's all kinds of things a person can be. He can be the centaur, but he can also be the archer who dismounts from his horse. He can also be the bow and arrow, and he can also just be the arrow. So there are gradations of evolution that we find in relation to the sign Sagittarius. And finally, he becomes really the guardian of the gate to initiation, and sees far enough ahead to know what has to be done by the person who would truly achieve initiation. I have a friend who he can't decide whether he's Sagittarius rising or Capricorn rising. It's so close, you know. So we call him a Sagicorn, and he has his Jupiter in the sign Capricorn. Oftentimes we have a blending of the signs, and you know, you move from one to the other in the course of a life. I see the goal, I reach that goal, and then I see another. The eye is missing there, but uh, anyway, there it is. And Jupiter is the expansive, visionary, ordinary ruler, sacred planet ruling in the orthodox sense, expanding the horizon and giving us all kinds of appreciation for things that we do not yet include within our ring past knot. Then comes the earth, the sacralizing of the earth, the rendering of our wonderful planet into a true initiate. It's only an initiate of the first degree right now, and it's heading cosmically for an initiation of the second. Interestingly enough, for a human being, Sagittarius rules both the first and second initiation, and then onward to the sixth and other things like that. And finally, Mars, which is the hierarchical ruler. It's kind of interesting, isn't it, to see a great, expansive, esoteric ruler ruling orthodoxly and a more ordinary planet ruling hierarchically. Nevertheless, the lunar lords within our system, everything St. Paul was fighting with, you know, the old Adam, so to speak, they have to be reoriented through aspiration so that they can be elevated and released as Davic forces rather than elemental forces. And we all have a lot of work to do with that, the reorientation of our lunar lords through aspiration. And that's one of the reasons that Mars is the hierarchical ruler. But do not discount the esoteric potentials of Jupiter in Sagittarius, even though it's simply the ordinary ruler, orthodox ruler. It can make a person, you know, reckless and profligate and, you know, expansive to the point of excess. At the same time, it can give a marvelous vision of the wholeness. So, you know, maybe, I guess we all go through periods over here where we become like the hermit. And he's, you know, what was it, Diogenes? I can't remember exactly, but talk about irony. He's carrying a lighted lamp in broad daylight through the streets of Athens looking for an honest man. Wow, the irony is incredible. But Sagittarius has a great love of the truth once it's learned to stop telling the fish stories in the beginning. You know, how big was that fish you caught? Well, I can't even describe it, but Sagittarius is given to exaggeration, but later to absolute truth, you know. So that's what that hermit is doing there, and it requires one to go deep inside one's nature to find the source of truth. So let's just say our horizons spiritually are expanding in this sign. Now, you all know that Francis Donald has made some beautiful images, and they're on our Makara website. So I encourage you to go there. I'm just going to take a little look at them quickly, at least at a couple of them, and you'll see some of the same themes that are repeated. Let's see. Oh my, looking for things, right? I had it just a minute ago. So here, you know, here is the, we see the rider on the white horse. He's in the middle of a temple that looks a lot like the Pantheon or the home of the gods. Now, if you want to see exactly what Francis said about it, and it's always good, please go to Makara and not Makara, but Moria Federation website. And BL, would you be so kind as to put the link on there where they can go, because I don't have time right now to read through all that Francis has presented, just a little bit. And you'll see here, there's the white horse has been purified in Scorpio, and the shaft of light is descending from above. It's like the Antikarana, and you shoot along the golden, the lighted bridge, the rainbow bridge, according to your soul ray and your personality ray. And again, the gods speak. The arrow of intuition returns. from the arrow of aspiration. Now, some people say, well, you know, aspiration is an emotional attitude, but DK says, no, it's not. It's really a scientific method of elevation, a scientific method of raising our consciousness. That's what aspiration is. So no matter where we stand, even the planetary logos aspires, the solar logos aspires. It's reaching up via Anantakarana to the next more expansive ring pass knot. So maintain your aspiration. And at this time, with Jupiter and the Sun so close, they're both in Sagittarius. I think that's wonderful. And the optimism about what we can accomplish together can be very strong at this time. So let's utilize that. Now, another, I'm just doing a little bit here, okay? Not a lot. Here is something which will be familiar. You know, we're in the marshes, but in the distance is that marvelous mountain with the light on top of the mountain, which is the light of initiation. And we're aiming for that. And here are all of those Stymphalian birds, and they are our thought forms which are getting in the way. And we have to banish those thought forms. Now, Hercules decides to do that with the crash of two great cymbals, which drives the birds away and leads to that stunning silence in which reality can appear. So Sagittarius is not quite there yet, but aiming toward the peak, and will be there before long. And then once he's on that peak, and after serving through the great renunciation and mastership, Sagittarius will again pick up and take us on an outward bound journey after the great decision. Libra and Sagittarius together on one of the 9 paths on the way of higher evolution. So, you know, some of us may be down in the Kama-monastic marshes, but there are ways of getting rid of those impediments, pretty much that we have made, and journeying to the base of the mountain where we begin our arduous climb. Over here, Francis has depicted a thought form coming as an idea from the Buddhic plane. See, everything above here, you see this oval, but everything above the oval is a example of the cosmic ethers, which are really a living area. And the thought form begins as an idea, and it descends into an abstract thought, and it descends through the various planes of our normal personality nature, soul and personality nature, until it becomes, well, hardly like it was in the beginning, but at least something that we can use. It becomes more and more compressed and confined, and maybe not representing very well the original intuitive idea, since Sagittarius is one of those intuitive signs particularly, but at least it is some representation that comes down and can brighten our look towards the future and towards the higher realms. Sagittarius is very much involved with the abstract mind. Well, of course, with the astral body through aspiration, yes, and through the directed concrete mind and research, yes, but also in the abstract mind and in the intuition, Sagittarius has a very vital function. So, as I say, please go to the area there on our Moria Federation website, and I think maybe in the chat box, BL can put that there where you have to go, but you'll find it. You'll find it there. Now, oh, this is a couple of things that I'll read from, as Francis has quoted DK here. The archer on the white horse. Well, minimally, we should be that, right? Signifies the orientation of the man towards a definite goal. The man is then not part of the horse. See, that's it. Our animal nature has been overcome. The lower centers have been overcome and put in their place, but is freed from identification with it and is the controlling factor. The man controls, we want to control. This rider, now you know the Christ, the returning Christ, is called the rider on the white horse. And you know, one of the interesting things I noted that Alice Bailey died in Sagittarius. And of course, that has something to do with how she will return if she has not already done so. So I thought that was very interesting that she had a very strong Gemini quality when she was last working with the Tibetan. And of course, she'll continue in Master Kutumi's ashram and do great work in inspiring the vision in Sagittarius. So the rider is essentially one, like unto ourselves, human and animal combined as we all are, but fused with divinity and inspired from on high. That's how it comes later. And here from the old commentary, where is the horse? The white horse of the soul. Note that. Where is the rider of that horse? O Lanu. May we all be Lanus, you know. It means an ardent disciple. Gone towards the gate, O master of my life. But something speeds ahead between the pillars of an open door, something that I myself have loosed. And that is the arrow of aspiration, speeds through the open door and returns as intuition. The intuitive and focused attitude of the pledged disciple, that's what we need. And let all of us at this time of great sincerity renew our pledge in Sagittarius to follow that vision of divinity wherever it will lead. Oh, well, there's so many beautiful things here, but read them and take your Alice Bailey CD-ROM. And if you don't have an Alice Bailey CD-ROM, it's not that expensive. You should get it because it opens up the books for you in a way that no amount of thumbing through the index will do. So I'd love to see every sincere student of the teaching have the Alice Bailey CD-ROM, which you can order from the New York headquarters or the London headquarters, wherever, maybe the Geneva headquarters too. And let it be your assistant to broaden your vision, because what we're involved with at this time of year is a broadened vision of reality. It's a great philosophical sign. It takes us into the abstract mind. However, the abstract mind cannot answer everything. The intuition is needed, the shaft of returning light of the intuition. And so let's be open to those possibilities as we celebrate the coming of the Christ in Capricorn. Okay, friends, there's so many things we can't do them all, but we're very grateful to Francis for all of his artwork and for all of his presentations. Now there was a presentation on sacred geometry that's got to be on our Makara website, his numerous programs, and now an ongoing presentation of the secret doctrine. And he's giving us an artistic point of view, a biographical point of view, an academic point of view. So I really recommend every month that you visit and take in his offerings now on the secret doctrine. As Alice Bailey said, a book unlike any other, where there's information that no other book has. All right. Now, and by the way, we in America, it's Thanksgiving Day here for us, and I know it's not celebrated in the same way in Europe and Australia and other places, but we have, with Jupiter and the Sun together in Sagittarius, conjuncted on Thanksgiving Day, it's really a time when we can count our blessings. And although the forces of materialism, through their various unconscious agents, conscious and unconscious, are attacking the principles by which we intend to live in America, and as a soul of humanity, we will overcome those attacks. And hierarchy has educated us, and the people of goodwill and the determined servers and the people who see a vision of reality and not a glamored illusory vision, they will overcome this challenge, which presents to us the possibility of reaffirming our principles. Because, excuse me, until principles are tested, you never know whether you can rely upon them. And so now we're having, in the soul of humanity, the rise of fascism, the rise of dictators, the rise of Nazis, all that old stuff that was supposed to be defeated. But we will reassert our spiritual principles, and however long it takes, and I don't think it'll take terribly long, we will seal these other long overcome negativities behind the door where they belong, and proceed on the basis of the principles which must usher in the Aquarian age. All right. Now, next I have to just find the meditation. Now there it is. There's something about this sign, you know, which is connected with joy, which is the attitude of the soul. There's something about this sign which transcends the ordinary boundaries and can take us into the joy of the soul and something higher even, you know, as we enter the realm of the cosmic ethers and the spiritual triad, and finally re-become the monad. It's very interesting. The kind of number 6 is very powerful with this sign. There's more sixth ray in this sign than any other at this time. And it's very interesting that the monad is a lord of ceaseless, persevering devotion and goes on a great journey or pilgrimage downward to redeem the earth, you see, to redeem the elemental life. That's the downward pilgrimage of Sagittarius and the monad. But then, when you get home, the monad sort of splits. You know, one brother stays at home and one brother goes forth, prodigal son. But when you finish that journey at the 6th initiation, then starts an entirely other journey, which takes us via Sagittarius once again on the way of higher evolution towards various constellations, and finally towards the Pleiades, which we can call our home, at least temporarily, and then on and on and on, leading us back to the absolute goal, which is the one God of this universe. So let's put on our long-range vision goggles or something and see as far ahead, penetrating behind the obstacles, so we can see what reality really is. Okay, well, we're coming quite soon, as I said, at 4 a.m. GMT on the 23rd. We're going to, Tuya is going to begin the exact time meditation for Sagittarius. And let's see if I have this here. It's the exact full moon is at 5:39 and 25 seconds a.m. GMT on the morning of the 23rd. So if you can get yourself up, you know, for 4 o'clock in the morning, as if you're in London, it's tough, okay? If you're in early part of Europe, it's tough. Not too hard on the people in the United States, basically, if they wish to do it. And Australia will be, and New Zealand will be quite okay. Join us for the exact full moon service meditation broadcast at our usual YouTube link. Okay. So let's get into our meditation now. And we are, well, it's coming up so soon, you know, so basically we're already in the 12 hours before the full moon. So it's a day of safeguarding. You can, you know, you can work on the full moon period through a 3-day approach, a 5-day approach, a 7-day approach. The esoteric Advent approach is 7 days. And Tuya and I are working on the sacred pentagram approach of 5 days. And I've also at various times used the 3-day approach, the day before, the day of, and the day after. As long as we are sincere and focused, any one of those approaches will be useful. And then, of course, we distribute. And that's really, I want to say that one of the ways to fight this attack that we're having from the forces of materialism is to concentrate the creative imagination in constructive ways in line with the divine plan. So Sagittarius is one of those imaginative signs. It has to do with the astral plane where on imagination is formed. It has to be in line with the intuition. So let your imagination lead to the intuition which reveals the divine plan, and work hard on the inside to assert the great principles which must conquer these ancient negativities which have no business threatening progress, again, in Sagittarius. We must conquer the ancient negativities. And we will. Okay. So we will withdraw our consciousness from identification with the personality vehicles. We really need to find ourselves behind, within, underneath, however you want to describe it. We need to find ourselves behind and as something other than what we so often identify ourselves with. And that's the outer human being. See if you can find yourself there. I tried to explain once to a very atheistic friend of mine who believed that the brain held everything. And I said, well, my body could fall on the floor, brain dead, and I would still be right here standing in the room with full faculties. So somehow we have to separate the outer man from the inner, and not just verbally or not just mentally, but experientially. So we pull back as the observer, who ultimately is the monad, and we disidentify from the outer energy and active states, and we disidentify from the plus and minus attraction and repulsion of the astral body. And we disidentify from the concrete mind and all the usual reasoning and logic and thinking capacities. They're useful, but we are not them. They are simply the instrument. We have 3 or 4 instruments there in the personality, and we are the user, the director. Remember how much Sagittarius does direct and point towards the goal and guard the gate that leads to wider life. And it's as if those fields of the personality just melt away, and we use the imagination to see ourselves in the field of spiritual mind, spiritual knowledge, and spiritual love, and the spiritual sacrificial will of the soul. That's our atmosphere now. That's the environment in which we imagine that we live. And we can meet the men and women of goodwill there who are living more and more as souls. We're linked with them, whether we know them personally or not. And even more, the members of the new group of world servers really strengthened men and women of goodwill who are committed to service. And they're all over the world, and we meet them as if in the realm of the soul. The serving, saving consciousness of the soul. So wherever you find a member of the new group of world servers, there is a soul link. And personal knowledge of them is not relevant to that link. And then really all humanity, in the body, out of the body, everyone really, even those with what the Tibetan is called evil personalities, he's making a distinction. There are no evil souls per se. We link up with all human beings. We can see that it may take a long time for many people to even be interested in the earliest principles of spiritual occultism. But inside, as an observing consciousness in the higher realms, we have a lot in common. And if we can fathom it, after identifying really with all human souls and with the unified, unitary soul of humanity, the great second ray mantra should mean something to us, something real. Naught is but me. And if you can master that naught is but me mantra, it is powerful. The whole is seen as one. And even more, if I can play with words a little, the whole is being as one. It's another step. So we want to enter into those worlds where we can see these things and be these things That involves our projection via the multicolored rainbow bridge. You know the colors: first ray red, indigo, second ray green, third ray, the yellow fourth ray, orange fifth ray, the silvery rose or light blue sixth ray, seventh ray violet. There are a number of colors for the different rays, but they do carry a certain quality. And the masters work on these levels. That's where their consciousness ordinarily is focused. So imagining the bridge from our astral body, the second level of the astral body, we as if send it through this area of the mental unit and up to the intuition, and the intuition will organize the desire body in line with right desire, right aspiration. And there will be a gathering in around the area of the mental unit. DK calls it a retained pool of energies. From the vital and physical nature of the personality, the energies are drawn up. And from the knowledge petals of the soul, the energies are drawn down. From the love petals of the soul, we breathe these in to retain them in the area of the mental unit and the highest levels of the concrete mind. We breathe in the sacrificial will. We breathe in the threefold sense of synthesis from the synthesis petals. And we even touch the jewel in the lotus, which is a reflection of the monad, and breathe in that powerful will energy into the area through which the bridge will pass. We see the bridge, the sevenfold bridge, passing through this pool of retained energies. And it rises up towards, maybe not all the way yet, but up towards the monastic permanent atom, towards the Buddhic permanent atom, towards the atmic permanent atom, towards the monad. We can imagine that the bridge, particularly for our group work colored by the indigo light, touches these permanent atoms. It doesn't really do that yet, because so much elevation and progress has to be made. But when we send forth the word of power, there is a response from these higher sources, and somewhere there's a meeting and a flash and a bestowal of the higher energies into the lower aspects of consciousness, some of which are still very high. So whatever our soul ray may be, or our personality ray, both of those are used, but in our work, I see the greatest light, and the indigo light is primarily coloring the bridge. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to imagine a flash of blinding light traveling up the multicolored bridge. Imagine them touching these higher sources, and an answer will come to us, an attentiveness from the higher sources that will gradually put us together in an integrated manner. Our personality, our soul, our triadal, our monadic nature, all together in an integrated manner. So we'll sound the Om 3 times, inwardly pronouncing the word of power. I see the greatest light. The story is that from the monad, the father rushes forth to greet the returning prodigal son. That aspect of consciousness, which is monadic, that has been lowered into the denser worlds, that's the prodigal son. And we're all returning as that unit of consciousness we call the prodigal son. So the integration occurs from below and from above. And we can imagine that our consciousness is focused in these triadal realms, or at least receiving from them. And then we would be in a position to salute the great ones with whom we seek to work. We cannot focus all the time the way they do in these cosmic ethers. That's the privilege of arhatship, mastership, chohanship, you know. But we can come en rapport with the kind of consciousness they have. So let us offer our cooperative salutations with heartfelt gratitude, and we'll offer our salutations to the masters and to the head of the hierarchy of the Christs. Salutations to the Christ, the master of all masters, and the teacher alike of angels and of men. And then to the triangle of masters with whom we in this aspect of the hierarchical work seem to work most closely, Master Moria, Master Kutumi, Master Chwalkul. Salutations to the Master Moria, the head of all esoteric schools and organizations. Oh. Salutations to the Master Kutumi, whose ashram is the most focused on preparing the way for the reappearance of the Christ. Salutations to the Master Jual Kul, the messenger of the Masters, who's given us the blue books and whose ashram particularly trains aspirants for initiation. Salutations to your own master, as you know him to be or conceive him to be. And salutations to the entire spiritual hierarchy of the planet, with whom it is our firm and fixed, well-directed intention to cooperate. We will begin our ascent towards the planetary and zodiacal and constellational energies now available as we work with the energies of Sagittarius. We gather together at that point as if only our essence is together. We leave the personality things aside, and we are like a fusion of consciousness, determined to enter the indigo blue disk on the golden pathway, symbolic of that part of consciousness that is always rising towards a greater and deeper ring pass knot. And we as a point go with the golden pathway into the golden light as it enters the indigo disk. So imagine that you're there in this great second ray color, the color of our planetary soul, the color of our solar systemic soul in the indigo disk. And there we as a group seek to become outposts of Master DK's consciousness. It's as if we are pervaded by some kind of knowledge, some kind of sensitivity, which he has as we approach these planetary energies now available. We will approach the expansive energies of Jupiter, expanding our horizons and increasing our buoyancy and our motivation to move beyond and through our limitations. We will transcend our limitations, and we will focus on the energies of our Earth. Only 2 signs are ruled by Earth. Sagittarius is one of them. It has everything to do with making Earth a truly sacred planet, responsive to that aspect of the divine plan which controls its direction and its method, helping Earth, helping our planetary logos get to where he wants to arrive. And Mars, fiery Mars, so that we know how to fight for the elevation of our elemental life into Davic life. We're going to meet these planetary streams in our imagination. They are here. They are emphasized at this time. Of course, all the planets are always here, but at a special time, they shine forth with greater presence and power. And such a time as now for Jupiter, Earth, and Mars. So our first encounter, as we increase our point of tension through intense focusing, that's how to do it. Intensity of focus increases the point of tension. And we will encounter Jupiter first. The vision of truth, of wholeness, of reality, ever widening the ring past not, until that day be with us, when our identity has changed so many times and so many veils have lifted that we know we are the universal logos itself. A huge stretch, but widen, expand, and that's where we will find ourselves. With positivity, we will go forward, helping others grow and thus growing ourselves. Jupiter is ruling the monadic plane. The hierarchical ruler, Jupiter in Virgo. And we are determined to expand. So we will bring into our groups and into our individual life that sense of Jupiter. Dwell with it for just a moment. It looks a bit like the number 4 and is connected with what's called fourfold opulence, and governing the source of supply of what's missing in us and in our groups and on our planet. So Jupiter flows into our groups, and we feel our soul expanding, embracing more and more of the vision which lies before us. For practical purposes, there are no limitations to how we can grow in this universe. And once the great day be with us, the universal pralaya, unimaginable re-becoming of the one and only. So growing and helping others grow. Let's imagine our group life enriched by this royal blue, this kind of indigo royal blue of Jupiter. And we will work with Jupiter, and we will be aware that this ray, its major ray at this time, the second ray, is present and emphasized. We will be aware. And then we turn our attention towards our little planet, sacred inside and becoming more sacred outside, yet to take its second cosmic initiation, but soon to take and finish a kind of fourth crucifixion initiation, and leading on to a fifth in that series where through and through sacredness may be with us, working out, all of us, the plan of the Christ and his hierarchy, of Sanat Kumara, and the Shambhalic group, and of the planetary logos itself, working with the will, responding to the intention of what our planet can become. It's a first ray monad. That monadic ray is occultly inactive at this time because we have a non-sacred planet, but soon it will be active and you can already see it. But the great thing is harmony, love, wisdom, right relationship all over the earth with all the kingdoms of nature, the mineral, vegetable, animal, human, kingdom of souls, kingdom of planetary lives, and in whatever way the kingdom of solar lives affects our planet. Try to see our little sphere, a vision of its becoming oneness, with many, many forms arising which contribute to the oneness, and not just a bunch of cacophony and conflict. We're all a part of our planetary logos, and when we see the other forms of life, we have to remind ourselves that we share in this essence of our planetarily pervading planetary logos. And that be our vision of our planet on the cosmic path towards its sacredness, and we are helping. So into our groups, and into our individual nature into the kingdoms of nature. Let this essence of love, wisdom, the soul of our planet, flow. We absorb it, and it brings harmony and the right passing of this crucifixion experience, which now we are undergoing on this globe. Let's absorb the second ray soul of the earth. Note the second ray soul of Jupiter and the second ray soul of our planet. So we really do become friends of our planet. And our actions and our thoughts and our feelings and our whole incarnation, once we begin to wake up, is dedicated to the betterment of our planet, leading to its sacred condition. And now we will move on to the red planet Mars. It's a non-sacred planet. It's not as developed as Earth is yet, but it provides some kind of crucial courage and a willingness to confront the obstacles. The hierarchical ruler. Our aspiration becomes transmutation, transformation, and leads to transfiguration. We are rising with Mars through bravery, courage, and it takes a lot. Takes a lot on this thorny path of spiritual occultism. It takes a lot to confront the obstacles and the karma of our past mistakes, but at least we don't cower away hiding. We go forth and we confront what it is that blocks us from achieving elevation. So imagine that ray of Mars. It's a, well, sixth ray personality, probably a first ray soul, probably a fifth ray, first ray monad. And let's use Mars rather than be used by it. We will direct the power of Mars and become, what did he say? I wish all of you were a bit younger and more courageous, he said. So let's be courageous on behalf of the divine plan, and we will absorb that energy into our groups, into ourselves individually, and face what has to be faced to bring the plan into manifestation. Growing through Jupiter, sacredizing through the earth, becoming brave and courageous through Mars, all to reach the goal. I see the goal, I reach that goal, and then I see another in Sagittarius. And all of this is part of the love, wisdom, soul of our planetary logos, our solar logos as well. That's what I'm talking about here, this God of fire. Our Lord is a consuming fire, the fire of love, And we have to know that. And we are all units of the fire of love. We are all units of the fire of love. Every one of us on every planet, no matter where it may be, is part of this second ray soul of our solar logos and second ray personality. We are a love wisdom unit, regardless of what our other rays may be. And we let the love grow because it's the way to bring the divine plan of divine love into manifestation on our more essentially second ray planet. So we attempt, as it is said in some of these meditations, to find pure love flowing through us, express it, and in as much as we succeed in doing that, we are actually blending our little will with the divine will. Becoming a unit of love wisdom in our second ray solar system, probably even finally a second ray monad, a great heart in a cosmic logos. And if we can express that energy skillfully, not indiscriminately, but skillfully, we're going to know a little bit about the mind that is in Christ, a little bit. But now, from our solar system, as vast as it may be, we journey in our imagination into the cosmos, our local cosmos. We're not beyond the galaxy exactly. And we find a constellation. It's quite brilliant, quite beautiful, near the Scorpio constellation, very bright, really. And it's very military and very passionate, and it overcomes much. It's a great divine warlord in a certain sense. Sagittarius, with its directing light, you know, a beam of directed, focused light. We all need that, you know. It's the aspect of the Antikarana, and it keeps us on the beam. In this point of light, in this, the point of light becomes the beam and revealing a greater light ahead, illumining the way to the center of the light. In that light, we shall see light. You can turn the beam of Sagittarian light on many things to see their context, their relationship. Our potential is very great if we would just pay attention and stick with it. And the rays come in, 3 rays come in through Sagittarius, 4, 5, and 6. Individualization under 4, discovery under 5, and elevation and aspiration and constant movement upward through 6. But maybe most important now, you know, we're going to be moving towards the exact full moon. We're beginning, Tuya is beginning about an hour and 40 minutes before the actual full moon, which is, I think, 5:39 a.m. tomorrow morning in Europe anyway, GMT. We want to be pondering, I see the goal. I reach that goal, and then I see another. So let's really focus on that. What is your goal? What is the goal of your group, your nation, humanity, your planet, your solar system? We want to keep moving forward, progressive motion. I see the goal. Let's be practical about it. What is that goal? I reach that goal, because we will reach all goals. No goal of an elevated nature will be denied to us eventually. I reach that goal, and then I see another. So now we'll have some quiet and see how that great mantram applies. I see the goal. I reach that goal. And then I see another. So much of humanity wants to move backwards because of fear of the sublime which lies ahead. But Sagittarius is progressive in its highest expression and will not let us move backwards into the old personality liabilities. I see the goal. I reach that goal. and then I see another. So whatever it means in your life, to your group, to whatever movement you happen to be in, to the Ageless Wisdom, let's move forward as units of consciousness, as units of group consciousness, into an ever greater light. In that light, we shall see light. I see the goal. I reach that goal, and then I see another. Keep it in mind. And the full moon is approaching just after the ingress. Very intense. And we start at 4 a.m. GMT, and by 5:39 or so, there will be the exact full moon. From the one about whom naught may be said, and that's the center of which is the Pleiades, at least our local one about whom naught may be said. And the Pleiades are like its head center, like its thousand-petaled lotus, into the zodiac, which is like the heart and the head center of this great cosmic, supercosmic being, into the jewel box, which is the jewel at the very center of that heart in the head center. It's the 7 major Pleiades. And in this case, through the constellation Sagittarius, which represents one of those petals, bringing its 4th, 5th, and especially 6th ray, and into our local cosmic logos, in which our sun and his solar system is like a great heart, and through the planets Jupiter and our Earth and Mars, this energy is flowing, this energy of progress, progress onward, movement forward. And you'll feel it too. Jupiter with the sun now in Sagittarius, nothing should hold you back. Just move forward. And into our planet in Shambhala, touching our monad, giving us a keen sense of direction, and into the triad and soul and our hierarchical presence, and into our head center and the reoriented solar plexus, and back to our ajna center, which will see many possibilities and move towards them. The energy flows. The energy flows. So here it is, at least in America, it's Thanksgiving, and we are much troubled by many temporary passing obstacles all over the world, really. But DK says, see through them, see beyond them, see the reality, and don't let yourself get overwhelmed by that which is passing away. And so that Sagittarian energy of progress, we can direct it, maybe for a few moments, to some area of the earth which really needs it, some area of humanity which really needs it. Choose your own, direct it, so that people can get unstuck and move. I'm just thinking, just for a moment, of the United States, which is having a big problem. And I'm thinking of the Statue of Liberty, and I'm thinking of I light the way, and the way is the path, and Sagittarius rules the path. I light the way, the path. So let's get the American soul doing that, coming through, and let that be the case for progress in every nation living according to its soul. Let's get those souls of nations cooperating together, and let's subdue the old personality stuff which wants to reassert itself when people get frightened. Let's make sure we all really go forward. And we'll close our work here today and be thinking ahead, towards the full moon, exact full moon service meditation broadcast the two of you will be leading later. Try to stay up for it if you can. If you're afflicted by sleep, I understand it. But like Master Moria says, let's not make sleep our God. Easier said than done. So friends, let's sound the great invocation and the sacred word. Move ahead. Those of you who are celebrating Thanksgiving, may we really realize how blessed we are to be living now at this time in the light of the hierarchy, which can take us forward into reality and not bury us in some old form of consciousness. The great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. So friends, our next get-together will still be today in the United States, but over here is your YouTube link, which is always the same. And when you go to it, let's see if it's going to look something like this. and there'll be a different title there, but you'll be able to work with us at 4 a.m. GMT. So only two more things left in our presentation, fourfold presentation this time. I thought, my goodness, we've got the glamour group as well and the science of triangles, but I forgot that when we're having such a concentrated full moon time, we defer those broadcasts until the next occasion. And that's what we have done to avoid crowding the field. So I want to thank you very much for being here and meditating with us. And I just want to say, whatever you do, be in meditation at the time of the full moon in Sagittarius. If you're with us, great. If you're on your own, fine. If you're with other groups, great, no problem. But let's all be in meditation, directing that beam forward so we really see the vision, and the vision becomes realization, revelation and realization, reality. Let us all see reality and go there. Can't help it, but you're already real, but go there. So thank you, and many blessings, lots of love from all of us at the Moria Federation and University of Seven Rays, and well, all the different groups, Northern Light Society and the Blue Rose Sisters, and all, we're all doing the same thing. Many blessings, lots of love, and we'll see you before long. All the best, and enjoy the run up to the Sagittarius full moon. Bye-bye.